Hi, I am going to play around with this butterfly. What I've done is I've kind of made a little butterfly flap of the wings, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those frames on the timeline, select them all, hit the Alt key, copy them there. I'm going to take this one here and put a F7 on that. So now we've got these 3 frames selected, and I'm going to click on reverse frames. Okay, so now what we've got is it's flapping, and then it should be flap, 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 flap. Okay, so now we've got this little loop where it starts open, close, and down. Let it glide a little bit there. Actually, glide and glide. So it'll be looping, looping, looping. Okay, so that's the cycle. And what I'm going to do with those frames, I'm going to copy those frames, and I'm going to copy them. Copy frames. Control copy them. Okay, so I put it on a new layer here, there. Insert, new symbol. We're going to call it butterfly loop. Graphic symbol. Okay. I'll write butterfly up here. Butterfly loop. Right click, paste frames. And there they are, all of them. Okay. I'm actually going to move them, all of this. I'm going to turn off the onion skin, turn on edit multiple frames, because I want to get them over this edit point over here. So I'm going to select everything, move them so that they're right on top of the crosshairs. Actually put the pivot point up where his head is. Okay, edit multiple frames. So now this is a little loop. I'm actually going to extend it another frame there so it kind of glides a little bit. Bloom, 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 and it'll keep looping back into that. Yeah. All right, when I come back here, meaning go back out here, on this layer here, what I'm going to do is, in the library now, there's a thing called butterfly loop. So I can delete this layer, and I can drag the butterfly loop out onto the stage. Okay. So now what's going to happen is, you see this butterfly will be flapping away, right, the whole time. And wouldn't it be nice if you could just follow a motion path? Okay, so what I've done is I've set 2 keyframes, one over here. Notice that the pivot point is up there at the top of the head. So I put it there. I set another keyframe on the very last frame, 95. He's over there. I can have him actually slide a little bit, glide, slide. And then what I did was, in the middle there, I said right click, create a classic tween. So here's your butterfly looping, set to loop across the frame. And you go like, well, why can't he glide in a motion path where he sort of hovers around, like that motion path that you've got? So let's do that next. But I want you to notice one thing before I do that, that the symbol with the nested animation in there, if we open the properties box here, it's a window that I had to open up here, properties for this symbol. It has these looping functions here, and we want it to be set to play in the loop. All right, we want it to play a loop. You've got different looping functions. You can say 1 frame or tell it which frame, but we want it to be continuously looping, saying play the graphic that's in the loop, so that it'll be fluttering. If I just said, 1 frame or play once, it wouldn't play. So basically, since we've got this looping, the frame picker shows you what it is. And we don't want it to play once or single frame, we want it to looping. Okay, so there is that. Okay, next we want to add a layer guide above the butterfly loop. So I'm right clicking and it will say add classic layer guide. Now let's see, the butterfly is underneath something called a guide for the butterfly loop. I'll right click there. I'm going to use the pencil tool, so it'll be a stroke. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually kind of do something like yours. Pull them out there. Okay, then what I can do is on the very first frame, I'm going to select the butterfly and I'm going to try to snap it into place so that the pivot point attaches there. I'll go to the next frame at the end, or the next keyframe of the butterfly, and I'm going to snap it there. So now the butterfly is following the guide layer. What I want to do is I want him to exit a little sooner, so I'm going to push this keyframe down here. You see it just slid down there. Maybe that you want him to follow it. So okay, so I'm going to turn off your butterfly for now. I'll turn that into the guide so it's invisible. So let's just see what happens here. Okay. I mean, we can modify the path of action if you don't like that, because it's a stroke. You see, I can modify it a little bit here. A stroke. I made it with the pencil tool. This is the path of action. All right. You don't want to get too fussy with it, but anyway, let's just play it one more time. Okay. So what I've done here is essentially, I took your butterfly and I put it inside a symbol, nested it inside a symbol. I looped it inside that symbol, and then I made a classic motion path above that loop. There's 2 keyframes, a start position here and an end position, which we can move to make it faster or slower. And then I snapped that pivot point, which is kind of where the head of the butterfly is. I snapped it to your motion path. I hope this helps. Okay, bye.